Welcome to today's edition of Talking Tech. My name is Ron Haskell, and I'm the Director of Communication for the VA's Office of Information Technology, and I'm pleased to be your host again today. We have a terrific program again lined up on a very important topic, and that's VA's implementation of the special salary rate. Last month, VA pioneered SSR, which has elevated the salaries of nearly 99% of our tech and cybersecurity team by an average of 17%. Now, we already know that VA has the best mission in government. That's what we claim all the time anyways. And this decisive action narrows the pay disparity between the public and private sector and enhances the competitiveness of VA's tech and cybersecurity roles. Joining us for today's episode is Nathan Tierney, VA's Deputy Chief Information Officer and Chief People Officer. Over the next half hour, we will break down the show into two parts. First, Nathan and I will discuss how SSR is just another step towards our effort here at VA to be the top federal IT shop in all of government. The second part of the show will be driven by you. Please feel free to submit any questions you have in the comment section on LinkedIn, and the team and I will grab them as we're able and answer them together with you in the panel. If you've got a burning question and you're dying to ask about SSR or working at VA, we've got the Chief People Officer here, so there's no better time to ask them now. Without any further ado, Nathan, it's great to have you on Talking Tech. Let's get started by giving a little background on how VA became the first to implement this special salary rate. I'll turn it over to you. I know you've got a couple slides and some talking points to get us started.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Ron, and thanks for the invite to be here to talk about a very important topic. If we go to the next slide, please. And I promise I will not kill you with death by PowerPoint today. All right? What I do want to talk to you about is why do you want to come work for us? As Ron mentioned, we do have the best mission across government. Maybe I'm partial as a retired veteran, but there is no better mission, in my opinion, than serving veterans, their families, and their caregivers. It's just a huge impact to people's lives, and that's part of being part of VA. Now, if we look around us in the world, guess what? Technology's there, right? I don't think anything we do, whether it's this event or even with our little mobile phones or anything that doesn't involve some sort of technology. So OIT, the Office of Information Technology within the VA, is committed to delivering high quality IT products and services to, again, the veterans we serve. And that enables the VA to provide a plethora of services to those veterans and family members. So why do you want to come work for us? Well, let me debunk some of the myths, all right, in the federal government. For one, I mentioned the mission, right? You get to change lives each and every day, selfless service to those who have served our country. If you join the team, we got growth opportunities. We have career pathways. We cultivate your skills with investing in you. We have a coaching and mentoring program. We have a rotational program so that you can learn about different jobs, cross-functional training, build those relationships to, again, deliver higher quality IT products and services to veterans. In terms of work-life integration, hey, we got paid holidays. I think there's like 10 or 11 of them. Paid federal holidays. Annual leave. You join the team, you start off with 13 days of sick leave. In addition to that, you start off with about 13 days minimum of leave. For those doing the math, and I'm not a math person, right? That's about 30, 40 days for you, for your family time. Telework, we have telework. We do have flexible work options. We also have maternity leave, which is awesome because then you get to cultivate that relationship with your little ones when they're born, whether you're the father or the mother. Retirement opportunities, hey, we're one of the few large-size companies, if you will, across the country that have a pension. In addition to that, we have a really good matching, it's called a thrift savings plan. It's like your 401k. And we match that every pay period. We have 26 pay periods. You put in money, we put in money. There's also Social Security. We have some insurance coverage for healthcare, dental, which is competitive with the market. In addition to that, if you've served in the military, you've been deployed, the military service credit can count towards your accrual of leave. In other words, you could start off with more leave, more vacation time based on your years of service. And then today we're going to talk about the special salary rate. right? We know that there was a gap in pay between industry and government for tech talent. Well, we've closed that gap with a special salary so that we are competitive. And oh, by the way, if you're a 2210 out there right now, or thinking about joining to become a 2210, it counts towards your high 3 for your retirement. What does that mean? You get more money as part of your pension. So a lot of good reasons to come work for us if you're just looking at from these main attraction drivers. But again, full circle, the best place to work in government is the Department of Veterans Affairs. You're a technologist, I want you to join the team, so check us out. All right, now let's get back to the regularly scheduled program of the SSR. If you go to the next slide. All right, what's up? VA is first. Groundbreaking, history. We listened to your voice. We had a whole employee journey map, right? And one of those things is it says, hey, compensation. It's a top attraction and attrition driver for people in tech. So we did something about it. Rapid fire. Gather the data, build the business case, build a coalition, make the pitch, right? And in under a year, we're executing the special salary rate. So for those of you that think government moves slow, not on my watch, right? We're going to move fast to deliver an outstanding employee experience. So ultimately, you can be part of this team, developing cutting edge technology, providing services to help veterans and their family members. It's all about the mission to me. So what changed? Well, we increased the pay for our data scientists, our computer engineers, our IT specialists across the VA. It's going to help us with recruiting top talent and retaining top talent. Why are we changing it? As I mentioned, it's just math. And there's about a 66% pay gap between industry and government. That means we can't compete for that top talent. Because, let's face it, right? People have families, funds, right, that they need to support those families. So this closes that gap on just one of the attraction drivers to join VA. This is the compensation side. What's not changing, if you're at 2210 today, keep doing your job, right? Enjoy it. If you're eligible for a critical skills incentive, you can still get that on top of the SSR. And there is eligibility also for individual retention incentives. So no changes to those two things. Next slide. All right, so here's some of the benefits I talked about by the numbers. On average, it increased pay by 17% for our IT specialists in the VA. As I mentioned, it closes that pay gap between industry and government. It helps you with your high 3 towards your pension. It also helps you with cybersecurity incentives that are no longer around. But the key takeaway, if you think about it, put it in dollars and cents, money in your pocket. On average, our employees received $18,000 pay bump due to the SSR. And it was retroactive to July 16th. That means, if you're getting your paycheck on August 4th, 16th, or whatever, you're going to get a back pay to July 16th. As I mentioned, for the organization, again, it's part of that talent acquisition strategy that I've got. I want to recruit and retain the top tier talent to come on board, join the team, and help us deliver better products and services to the veterans that we care about and their family members. It's a longer term solution to closing that gap so we can maintain our competitiveness. That way people don't company jump, right? They stick with us. And as I mentioned, we're going to be the government leader in IT. Next slide, please. All right, if you want to learn more, we got an FAQ page. I get asked a lot of questions. I'm hoping you ask me questions here. We also have the SSR pay tables. You can check it out on digitalva.gov and look up your locality of where you're getting the pay, et cetera. So with that, Ron, back to you. I promised you all not a lot of PowerPoint slides. I hope you all survived, but let's get after it. What are your questions?
You entered a new word in the lexicon of people science, humpity jump, I believe it was. I like that. So we've talked about the mission, and you gave a good overview of SSR, how we're paying more first for matching up with private sector, and now we're the first one and only one thus far in government. What sort of things, Nate, are we working on here at OIT? Like, what sort of projects could someone expect to work on? I don't think people understand the scale and the cutting edge that we actually do in government. It's not your stuffy sort of whatever thing. What sort of things could you expect to work on if you come to VA?
Yeah, great questions. Okay, so I'm a retired veteran. Many of us who serve in VA are. We serve about 9 million plus veterans every year. All right. So what does that mean? As a retired veteran, if I need from injuries, healthcare services, I can go into the hospital and get my VA care from one of the medical centers that we have across the country. Mm-hmm. What happens when you go into any hospital? Right? You see technology, right? Whether it's electronic healthcare records, whether it's scanners, you name it, something's going on in there, right? Even the laptops that the nurse or the doctor is entering your information into, right? Of which, oh, by the way, we've got to protect that patient data, right? We do that in ONT. We protect that data. So there's that. Let me shift right. What if I want to use my GI Bill, educational services, right? To go back to school, to college. Guess what I need? I got to follow the process, submit a request for it. It goes to our partners in the Veterans and Benefits Administration, and they process it. What do you think they use? An IT system to do that, to check my eligibility and to ensure that the payments get done to the school. Now, I've grown up, kind of got married late in life, got an awesome wife, 2 kids. Guess what? We wanted to buy a house. So now I want to take out a financial loan, right? My VA home loan, same thing. I've got to go into an IT system like va.gov, submit my request, do the paperwork, our VBA partners process it, and then I get to live in my house, right? And build bookshelves. I mean, those are just some of it. What happens if I die? Life insurance, right? As a retired veteran. Same thing again. I've got to hit IT to submit that request, or my loved one has to do it in order to get my life insurance benefits. So again, just think about that. We play in every spectrum that most normal day-to-day Americans deal in. So if you want to be part of a team that gets to touch everything, whether it's financial, educational, healthcare, right, and other cutting-edge technologies, this is the place to be. I look around, we even got an awesome VA app now, right? I can access my care there. So, to put it in perspective, we just have the broad spectrum of cool stuff that you can come on board and support. So hopefully Ron, that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And to plug that app, for instance, we have 2 million downloads for the VA Health and Benefits app, 80-something thousand reviews of that, and it's a 4.8 on the Apple iStore, which is up there with Amazon and USAA and some of the top apps. So, really cutting edge stuff. Not to mention the telehealth that we do. Yeah, there's a lot of...
Yeah, we were the pioneers in that. We're the pioneers with the first electronic health care record system back, I think, in the late 70s, early 80s, right? Yep. And you mentioned va.gov. I mean, we're blessed. We got an awesome CTO, Charles Worthington,
yep,
right? He's on board with a killer team developing those apps, listening to veterans, making those changes. So it makes our lives easier and more seamless, like you would deal with in the private sector. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on here.
Agreed. Okay. With that, we've got an overview of the SSR and some of the great things that we're doing here. Please keep entering your questions and things on LinkedIn, and the team's grabbing it. We do have a few that have come in already, Nathan. So you ready to take a couple here?
Bring it. Rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire. This one is one we've gotten a couple times, but are special salary rates a permanent pay increase?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so the special salary rate that we're using right now is using our PACT Act authority. So what does that mean? Right now, it expires September 30th of 2027. However, OPM did approve VA to use the special salary rate in January of this year. Coincidentally, on my birthday too, January 11th. So we're going to plug that way to make this a long-term solution because, again, if you want to compete for top tech talent, you got to be able to satisfy at least one of those attraction drivers, which is compensation. All right, what's next?
All right, good answer there. Next one comes in, says, does the SSR impact scheduled in-grade increases?
No, the SSR is not considered like an equivalent increase. So you're going to receive your within grade increases just like you were previously scheduled.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and for folks outside of government, there's every year, and then you sort of go up the scale. So what you come in at salary wise, there's sort of a built-in pay raise. Next one on the quick fire: will personnel in covered positions receive an annual locality pay adjustment?
Yeah, so SSRs are actually determined by adding like a supplemental percentage to that base pay. Mm-hmm. So any future pay adjustments can't be guaranteed for any GS employee. However, when your basic pay is modified, typically like in January, as a result of the executive order in Congress, then the SSR rate would be adjusted accordingly. All right?
Okay. The team grabbed the next one here. Are employees in covered positions eligible to receive incentives in addition to the SSR? You mentioned there's other authorities that we sort of have to keep and retain talent. So are folks eligible to receive other incentives along with the SSR?
Yes, you sure are. So let me throw out a couple. I mentioned the critical skills incentive, individual retention incentives, another lever, special contribution awards, and then obviously we also have performance-based awards at the end of the year based on your performance, right, and your performance rating. So if the generalized question is, hey, are there other ways to make more money on top of the SSR? The answer is yes, there are.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot we're able to do now with that authority. We're lucky to have it. So the next one is, will special rates contribute to an individual high years 3? I think you mentioned this on the intro there. And you might want to explain what high year 3 is for folks that are outside of government or interested in coming to government.
Well, thank you for putting me on the spot on that mathematical computation, Ron. Thank you. Remind me to pay you back on it. The long and the short is the way the high 3 works is they take your last 3 years in government pay, they average them, and then there's a multiple based on your years of service, et cetera, and what age you actually retire at, that calculates your retirement pay. So what we're talking about with the high 3 is if you have an SSR and you're making more money, right? And as I mentioned earlier, on average, it's $18,000 more money in your pocket than you got before the SSR. That retirement check, that pension check that you would get would be larger. Okay?
Okay. So making more money counts towards your retirement, which is a very important thing when you're thinking of that. So you had a link in the slides, and we can share that sort of information, through the stream here. But OPM normally publishes SSR tables. Since VA is the only agency currently implementing SSR, where are those tables, or how do people get their hands on them?
We have our digital careers website with the SSR. So Ron, if you just make sure the team drops that link in there, that'll point you to the tables. Okay. For the VA. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Yep. And we're building out an entire careers page that'll have this sort of information, where people will be able to go and learn about the mission, but also the positions that are open and some of the incentives that VA has over other federal agencies there too. So more to come on that. The next one that comes up, you mentioned that SSR is part of our PACTEC authority. After 2027, will SSR still exist for IT specialists and some of the other folks that are covered by that here in VA?
Yeah, good. Under the current authority, under the PACT Act, the answer would be no. But, you got to love the but statements, right? But there is an option for a 2-year extension under the VA, under that law. And then secondly, as I mentioned, OPM did this year approve VA for an SSR. So as we sort through that and the funding for the other agencies, My vision, my opinion, would be that we would just have that natural transition to the OPM thing to be able to continue to use it. So we got some time.
So no guarantee, but it's something we'll fight for, I'm sure.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So, and I think I know the answer to this one, but it's a great question. Are we looking more for transitioning service members or I would probably put in here, military spouses also of interest?
Bottom line, yes. I mean, we're the Department of Veterans Affairs, right? So if you're a veteran, you've served, and you're coming over, whether it's through a program like the Skills Bridge program or hiring heroes or whatnot, and you're interested in joining the VA, I encourage you to attend one of our virtual hiring events, our info briefings, things like this, learn more, and encourage you to apply. And oh, by the way, there's some special authorities for veterans to be able to join VA and other federal agencies. Second point, if you're a military spouse, right, we want you too. We have a lot of opportunities within OINT specifically, some of which are remote. Why is that important? Look, I remember my wife, when I was in the military, she had to give up her career when we had to move and so on, right? And that's hard. So wouldn't it be awesome for these highly talented military spouses to come in, join VA? They understand the mission, they understand the military, they understand the veterans, but be able to move if they need to as part of those reassignments for their spouses. So, definitely interested in hiring veterans and military spouses.
Yeah, I know that there's special hiring authorities too, I think, for military spouses to make sure that we give preference to that and be able to keep them in to have that flexibility.
Yeah, we just did in my Office of People Science, I don't know, it's been about 8 or 9 months ago. We started a Hiring Our Heroes program, and we've been able to bring in some military spouses in rapid time, right?
Yeah.
In fact, they get to come in, get some OJT, and then they apply, and then they end up, taking positions here. And that's 10x value, right? So, again, I encourage you to apply and check us out.
And I know, I don't know this is, the official talking points necessarily, but, our CIO, Mr. Delbany, has talked about there's a pathway sometimes. Maybe you come out of the military for veterans, get some experience here in VA, work on different projects, learn some different things. And if you aspire to go on and work in a large tech company or something like that, let this be your launch pad. That's a good opportunity to do that. And we're just happy to have you in and work on the mission for a few years in that as well.
Yeah. In fact, we just launched, we're the first other than DOD. In November with the White House, I signed in partnership with the Department of Labor, the first cyber apprenticeship program. And we're about to have that first cohort. So you can come in, learn some high-tech cyber skills, right, and training, work with some cutting-edge technologies. And again, our hope would be maybe that you would want to stick with us. We have openings, but if you don't, but you learn something new, and you're able to take that, out into industry, more power to you.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of cool opportunities and more on the way as we get ramped up.
Definitely. Okay, back to the Q&A, and keep sending them in. We got just about 5 more minutes here if we keep getting the questions. So this one is SSR causing offices to be at the max ceiling. I'm guessing that's with funding of positions, even while they have several vacant positions.
I think I understand the question. So let me try to dissect it into two. We budgeted appropriately the increase in pay for the special salary. Okay. So that pot of money is there. In addition to that, we do have an authorized headcount, that we're funded for under our IT appropriations, and we're about 92% on board. Meaning, of that total number, we've hired 92% of those vacant positions. So that's what we're working towards. As we do, OINT is one of the only ones. Actually, we are the only ones with validated staffing models. Right, in the department. I think there may be one other staff office that got them done, but the bottom line is we use those validated staffing models to justify our budget requests to Congress, to the White House, et cetera. So we have a very good understanding of what it takes to deliver IT products and services, and that's why we need highly talented people on board to make that happen.
Okay. I've heard about this in other areas of VA. but this is a good question. It's not SSR related, but I think a great one. Does VA have phased retirement?
I got to take that one for the record. I have not heard of that. I don't know the answer to that. So, if somebody jot that down,
Yep, we'll take that
I'll try to find out the answer.
Take that one for the record.
Yep.
Somebody asked about back pay. If they haven't received their back pay or something like that, should they just reach out to someone on your team? How does that?
Yeah, yeah. Reach out to somebody. Actually, better yet, shoot me a note. And I'll run that to ground for you. Everybody that was coded, right? There was 236 that still had to be remaining coded by August 4th. So everybody else of the 7,000 plus IT specialists that we have should have received their special salary rate, that increase in their pay, on August 4th. That was backdated to July 16th. So in other words, that little chunk of money would be higher. For the remaining 236 individuals, their pay should have been that second pay period in August, which, now I got to do the math, I think would be like the 17th of August. So everybody should have received their back pay by now. If the individual who asks a question out there doesn't think they have, shoot me a note. I'll run it to ground, and we'll figure that part out. Okay?
That's some of the growing pains of being the first. You get to be the ones that figure out the wrinkles. But to your point, we're committed to making sure people get that, and that's why it's backdated.
Well, I remember, as a soldier, never mess with a soldier's family, food, funds, or faith, right? So I don't want to mess with your funds. So if you feel you're not getting the right pay, let me know. We'll get it fixed, okay?
Yep. Okay, we'll do two more here. This one asked if 0391's being included in the SSR. You might want to explain to folks that are not government what a 0391 is, but are there chances that other people will be added to SSR, or is it just that would take new legislation or something like that?
No, we continually monitor it and measure the health of the workforce for those other job duties, and I do get asked that, right? Hey, why wasn't I included? The data wasn't there to support the request, right? So, we've got to make data-driven decisions, comparative market pay, comparative federal pay, et cetera. And so that's what happened there.
Okay. We'll do, since that was a quick one, we'll maybe do two more. We got, what skills are covered by the critical skills incentive?
Well, it says critical skills incentive, and you would think the skills means like one thing or two things. It doesn't, right? It's dependent on the job function that you're doing and the contribution to the mission. So it varies based on that job. Okay. Okay.
And we'll do one more here that's queued up. Does VA offer student loan relief incentives?
No, not at this time. We are examining a student loan repayment program, but it's not up and running yet.
Okay. So before we close out, we just got a few minutes left. Nate, I'm going to pose one last question to you. Someone new, outside of government or from DOD or a veteran comes to you and says, Nate, you're the chief people science officer. I'm sort of interested in coming to work at VA and IT. What's your pitch to them in 30 seconds or so?
That's twice you put me on the spot, dude. I think my pitch would be, are you the type of person that wants to give back, right, selflessly to others that are also selfless? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, check us out. Because, again, there is no better mission than serving those who have served. And you get to touch every touch point in that person's lives. So, if you want to live some sort of life of significance and knowing that you get back, if that's that type of person you are, then come join VA. And if you're a technologist, join the Office of Information Technology, because that's what it's about. It's about mission and service.
I love it. I put you on the spot because that's when you're best, Nate. That's the way that.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's going to close it out for this month's edition of Talking Tech. I want to thank Nate again for joining us and talking about special salary rate. As we talk about, we've got a great mission. We're actively finding ways to pay people and have incentives and pay them more. And we're hiring and we're looking for top talent, whether you're in another federal agency, you're coming out of the military, or you're out in Silicon Valley and looking to do something a little different. We're here looking to do that. So you can find out more information at digitalva.gov. You can also follow us, of course, here on LinkedIn and our other social media platforms. Last month we talked about PACT Act on the show. We've got SSR this month, and we'll have something cool and exciting next month. So till then, hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us, and be well.